Good morning, my name is Mustaria Gall and this is my presentation for COD 125. Today I'll be discussing Martin Buber's philosophical concepts and teachings, specifically how they support community development today and influence projects like Noongarpedia. I won't touch too heavily on this, but Noongarpedia is Australia's first Indigenous Wikipedia created in 2014 to preserve and revitalise Noongar language and knowledge systems. So I guess Buber's focus on dialogue and authentic relationships will provide a valuable framework for understanding how Noongarpedia functions as a community development tool. Firstly, Buber criticised education that prioritises objectivity. He encouraged learners to take an active role in building their own knowledge base and valued direct experiences for learning. One saying from him is that the heart of education is discourse, the dialogue of query and reply in which both sides ask and both sides answer. So that was one of his main philosophies, and it basically states that knowledge is acquired through dialogue, and he believed that dialogue should begin at a personal level, which means education does also. This is reflected in modern Noongarpedia Wikibombs, for example, which are monthly collaborative sessions where community members gather to create and edit articles, exchange ideas, learn together. These sessions, I guess, transform knowledge creation from a passive process into an active dialogue and encourage more personal forms of knowledge sharing and education. I guess that's exactly what Buber meant by dialogue is the foundation of education, and that's very clear here with Noongarpedia. Another part of Buber's dialogical theories includes I-it and I-thou, which are well-known concepts that describe primary attitudes and modes of existence. I-it is an inward, self-fulfilling form of dialogue that typically alienates someone from others. In contrast, I-thou is described as a personal form of dialogue that allows relation and reciprocation. I guess traditional knowledge sharing bases are often restricted to impersonal forms of information sharing, like I-it would suggest. However, Noongarpedia navigates specific relationships within culture, within families, elders, communities. So it honours Buber's I-thou, dialogical concept, by acknowledging the relational nature of knowledge sharing rather than recognizing it as universal. It respects that authentic human connections are essential to community development. The between is another theory from Martin Buber, basically explaining spaces where authentic encounters can occur. So Noongarpedia acknowledges that Noongar traditionally used a rich multimodal communicative repertoire, which included speech, song, sign language, gesture. By incorporating audio and video elements alongside text, Noongarpedia creates those between spaces where authentic cultural expression can flourish beyond the limitations of written language. Finally, Buber advocated for active knowledge construction and participation, as well as a community of communities approach that promotes sharing ideals while encouraging intercommunal dialogue. So this aligns perfectly with Noongarpedia's adaptive approach, nurturing the language as a living, adaptable, and changing thing that exists within its uses. So Noongarpedia empowers community members to actively shape their cultural heritage rather than simply preserving it as unchanged. It also embodies a dual language approach, creating content in both Noongar and English, which facilitates knowledge sharing across cultural boundaries. In conclusion, Noongarpedia exemplifies Buberian principles of community development through its collaborative approach to knowledge sharing. Whether intentionally or intuitively, the project has created a platform that honours authentic relationships and upholds importance of dialogue.